So the May meeting was yesterday. All the trustees were present except Board President Carrion. They talked about two constraint progress measures as well as a budget update. So the first, CPM 2.2, was related to the staff climate survey. The threshold that the district has to meet is 70% or more positive responses. The district did say that they met this constraint. They came in at 75.9% positive responses, which is an increase of 1.8% from last school year. And all of the statements are there, and for all of them, there was actually an increase in the amount of positive responses. So the district did say that they met this constraint. They talked about expanding the culture calendar, some of the employee recognition programs, especially for support staff, and then also leveraging TIA funding to increase teacher compensation. The second constraint was related to the ROI process. So this is a new constraint, but the district did say that they met this constraint as well. The budget is aligned with data from that process. It's basically a framework for the district to evaluate its initiatives and what to continue, what to change, what to potentially sunset. So they um, take in data about the inputs, the outputs, the outcomes. They shared an example of like what that dashboard looks like here. So you can see the initiatives, the goals that are related to those initiatives, the number of students that are affected, and the cost per pupil. And so they use that to determine what initiatives to continue with. They also shared this slide. So this is 20 or so initiatives that represent 80% of all dollars that go through the ROI process. So the district did say that they met this constraint. It's a year-long process of evaluating these initiatives. And then the superintendent's report was on the budget. So, continuing the conversation from last month, for the left-hand side, this year's budget, the district plans to come in at a deficit of $91 million. And for next year's budget, they're proposing the board adopt a deficit budget of $104 million. They did share that historically at year's end, the district typically comes in with a deficit that's much smaller than what was adopted, but the district wants to err on the conservative side. They always plan for kind of the worst case scenario. So they explained that. They also shared the fund balance and projections for the next couple of years. Even in 28-29 school year, the district will still meet the 3-month minimum that's required by board policy for its minimum fund balance. And they did say that the ultimate goal is for the 29 to 2030 school year, the district will adopt a balanced budget. That's the long-term goal. It just will take some time to get there. So, in summary, recommend adopting this 104 million deficit budget. They talked about how there'll be a reduction in payroll of $36 million. Even with that reduction, they will still have a total compensation increase of 56.4 million. Talked about this last month, but starting teacher salary, $68,000, increasing the minimum wage to 17.50 an hour. They talked about how they'll be eliminating 98 central staff positions, which is about $24 million, reducing contracted services by $6.8 million. And they talked a lot about how this is, this deficit is largely in part because state funding is not kept up with inflation. And even next year, they anticipate a decrease in state revenue of $86 million, an increase in recapture of $11 million. They did also talk about how sharing information about how voters just passed a $6.2 billion bond, so there might be some confusion about why is the district still adopting a deficit budget, but by law, they wanted to specify that that money that comes with that bond package can only be used on construction and renovation of buildings. It can't be used for operational costs like salaries, instructional materials. So there was some discussion about the best way to share that to make sure that the public's aware. But that was the May meeting.